All right, here we go.
Andor is the newest Star Wars series we get on Disney Plus, and I must say this is the worst Star Wars series we have gotten so far. And I know some people think it's the best show, some people are kind of mid of it, but the critics love it. They say it's more mature, it's more grown, it's more adult, and I just say, yeah, it has a couple of these things, but when it comes to being a Star Wars show, it's the worst one we have gotten so far. And it's like, this has so many problems. I feel like when it comes to story-wise, character-wise, I mean, there's a lot of things to unpack here. Now, this will be a spoiler review. Now, first of all, I must say the biggest problem is this show has no consistency at all. This show restarts itself every couple episodes. I feel like the first 3 episodes are its own story show, then the next 3 episodes are its own story and show, and then the next episodes are it's like the show keeps restarting itself every somewhat episodes. So there's like the consistency is zero in this show. I mean, the series starts out with Andor looking for his sister, and we get to see, kind of like a brothel and this, where I feel like, okay, I can understand. It was something new, something interesting to see. Like I say, the first 10 minutes were interesting of Andor, but then it just becomes boring, to be honest. Like, there's so much, the show is a lot of times so much boring, and you can clearly tell a lot of the aspects were so stretched out. I feel like things that were just like 2 scenes are stretched out to an entire episode. Like I said, he's looking for his sister. He goes to this brothel where he doesn't find her, and then he gets in scuffle with these 2 security guards, which he kills, and now he's on the run because like this security unit, what they have there, which is not the Empire, trying to hunting now for Andor and looking for him, when you have this officer, trying to find Andor. And I feel like, okay, you can have that, but first of all, my question is, why is that not the Empire? Why do we get some kind of low-level security agency? It's like, they're not threatening at all, or scary, or intimidating at all. And I feel like this should have been the Empire, to be honest, not some low-level security guard. And then they have this battle, where they're trying to look for him, where Andor tries to sell this thing to Stellan Skarsgård character, and which I feel like, and people were, episode 3, where I feel like it was okay. I mean, as soon as some action happened, I feel like I was finally being a little bit engaged, because when there's no action, this show is becomes so boring. Like, the talking moments are so boring in this show, and and I don't know, people praise it for stuff never being in Star Wars, and now we have these things like these stone on the walls, stones on these stone things on chains on the ceiling, them falling down, people like, oh, this was never done in Star Wars, oh my god, it's so great. It's like, what's so great about some stones falling from the ceiling? Seriously, like the action, or like this banging that they do, this ding 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 ding, the whole city, and that's supposed to be scary. I mean, like, I bust out laughing when they ask, what's that? And then this, one of the worst characters is that mother character, what they have for Andor. I'm gonna get to that in a second, but like when she says, that's the sound of a rebellion. That's some bullshit. You want to tell me some people banging on metal is scary? It's like, it's like, seriously, like, this is when I'm watching, like, this is a joke, right? You can't be serious. Like, this is supposed to be like amazing, cool storytelling, and I hate when they say they're trying to tell a humane story with Star Wars. I feel like, people. It's just like this, like I said, the first 3 episodes, that moment had me bust out laughing. I was like, this sound just got annoying after a while. It's like they bang on metal. It's like ain't nothing happening, seriously, and it's just like. It was so funny. And then after that arc is over, we get the show restarts, and now it becomes a heist show where they have Andor basically just taking orders, you know, trying to, and with this gang where they're trying to do this heist on this planet, which just looks like any Earth planet. There's zero creativity, then some regular ass forest. They have AK-47s. I was just like, what the hell are those types of guns doing in a Star Wars show? These weapons are so fucking ancient, there not even supposed to be no knowledge of them anymore. Plus we have more high-tech, cooler weapons in the Star Wars universe, but we take AK-47s? Are you serious? Seriously, the heist part was the worst part of the entire show. I feel like it was completely stretched out. When I heard they say it in 3 days, I'm like, oh my god, so 3 episodes? Are they just gonna sit in the forest and do jack shit? It's like so... all those characters are not memorable at all. The only slight interesting cool part or creative part I say about these 3 episodes was when they have like this meteor shower, this colorful meteor shower which they use, you know, as coverage to get out of the heist. That was actually cool. Like this little 30 seconds where I finally felt like, oh, this is something new and cool, but then it's finished right away and we move on from that basically. And the heist is just like typical basic, you know, action, standard action. It's nothing great, it's nothing unusual, it's nothing amazing really, to be honest. And then when we get to the prison sequence of the show, because then, you know, first it was a show about Andor finding his sister, then it was a show about Andor joining this heist, and now it's a show about Andor being in prison. So it's like, you know, but they don't connect the dot, they don't connect the storyline. It's like, oh yeah, now this show is about this, not completely, now it's about this, not completely, now it's about this. It's like this just jumps around all the time. But I do feel like the prison aspect was the more interesting aspect of the show, because basically Andy Serkis, because Andy Serkis is a fucking amazing actor. Like he really brought some really great performances, way too good for the show. But Andy Serkis' character as the manager of this prison, you know, on program, it was really great. He really gave a great performance. He really made it felt real, you know, this prisoner who's a hard time believing of escaping, and this could have been done really great. And it was actually the prison breakout was a great sequence. Like that was, I feel like, the best part of the show, and this could have been a great build up to it, like, but I feel like they kind of, like I said, there's no consistency connecting dots to it. And then once that finished, we get this boring ending of, you know, just like some typical, you know, this mother character dies, and then she gives this speech per hologram, and then they have this big fight on the streets, boring. And it's just like everything else is just like I said, the consistency, but the characters. And I want to talk about the Empire. The Empire is a joke in this show. They are not threatening, they are not intimidating, they are not scary, nothing, zero, nada. I laughed when I saw the Empire in this show. The Empire was always a threatening presence in the movies. Like when you watch Empire Strikes Back, A New Hope, or Return of the Jedi, then you see every time it's like the Empire, oh shit, the Empire. Like there's some fear to that. But all the officers and every aspect of that is just like boring as scenes. Like you can cut out the scenes and nothing would have changed. We have this lady character of this imperial things, but so boring. It's like, why are we spending time with this character? And then of course we have the senator character who was like a short scene she had in Rogue One, and I feel like everything with her character, you can cut that out, because like everything character with the senator character of them kind of building their rebellion is so boring, so not engaging, so bland and boring as characters. It's not interesting at all. And my question is, where's Senator Bail Organa? Why was he not in this show and not part? I mean, he's one of the big people, you know, engage of building their rebellion, and I feel like having him in the show would have actually made the scenes more interesting, more engaging, and plus he's an amazing actor. Get Senator Bail Organa in the show. He was missing, definitely in those scenes with this politician lady, because everything with her was just like boring, not engaging, bland, about his stupid husband and his damn kid. It's like, what are we spending time with these boring ass characters? The same with the security guard character. As soon as those first 3 episodes were over, they should have written him out of the show, because we don't need to know what. Then he goes to his mother, and then this becomes a 90s sitcom where it's like, come on, your Uncle Joey, he can do work for you, gonna help. And this is like this the most stereotypical Italian 90s shit that we get. It's just like, is this Star Wars or is this a 90s sitcom? It's like, seriously, what is going on here? Everything could have been cut out. Also, you know, it's just like, it was so not engaging. It's like they don't know how to write interesting characters. The only interesting new character, except for Andor, is Andy Serkis from the prison, because that was actually an interesting kind of story arc. Everything else is boring. All the other characters are really bad written and not interesting or engaging or memorable. At least I don't remember anybody's name. Nobody's name is memorable. Only Saw Gerrera. Forrest Whitaker appears in 2 short scenes, and that's only known because I saw Rogue One, basically. But also, like, they don't use his character. It's like, you have Forrest Whitaker, use him. You barely used him in Rogue One. You barely use him in this show. Now, I know this show is supposed to be 5 years before the events of Rogue One, but I feel like as season 1, like, use him a little bit more, have him more engaged. It could have been a more interesting show. But when it comes to the worst character of all, for me, is this damn mother character that takes Andor, basically, because she basically kidnaps Andor when he's like 13 years old, just like that, and then, you know, raises him just out of the blue without any like notion like, okay, does he have any family or anything? No, let's just take him because something like that. It's just like, I did not like that character. That character was awful. I was happy when it died. I was happy when that character died. I was like, thank God, because you are awful as character. Just kidnap some random child off a damn planet. Seriously. And I know they're trying to make it like, oh, we have to hurry because Empire is coming or something, like, you know, like, oh, she has to take him otherwise he will die. It's like bullshit. When they're telling me you didn't see all the dead corpses in front of the damn spaceship, and like you wouldn't think like, oh, maybe this kid is living somewhere or hideout or try to find out. I mean, they're supposed to be the good guys, not the damn Empire. Just take random people. And when it comes to Andor, they don't even get his character right, because we all know Rogue One, for me, Rogue One, I don't find Rogue One that great. I mean, it was okay. The best characters was the blind Jedi and his best friend and the scenes with Vader. The main character was sort of bland, and the same with Cassian Andor. We didn't find out much about his character, but he had this one great line where he says, I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old.
I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old.
Since I was 6 years old. Now when we see him, Cassian Andor is 13 years old, lives in the jungle, doesn't know what electricity is, never seen a fucking spaceship, yes, never seen an alien in his life, and somehow he's supposed to be in this fight for the rebellion since he was 6 years old. Like, does Tony Gilroy, Kathleen Kennedy, and the writers, like, do not know their own character? Did they ever see Rogue One? I mean, like, seriously, how stupid, how is that possible? That like this character had one line in the movie about his past. They couldn't even do that correct about the main character. And when it comes to Andor, I love Deanna Luga. Deanna Luga is really great, and I really feel like he deserves a way better show, because every time we see him in interviews, he talks so passionately about Star Wars. He really happy to be part of Star Wars, but I really do feel like he deserves a way better show than what we got. Because when it comes to Andor character, I don't know jack shit more than I knew about him in Rogue One. I know now from which planet he is. That's basically it. And then he has some mother character who kidnapped him as a child, basically, but we don't find out anything about character. Like, why does he do the things that he does? It's like, why does he does this? Why does he does this? Why does he does it? They never go into like the character of Andor, like his characteristics. Why does he does this? Like, we're supposed to find out about the character. I mean, it's called Andor. We do everything except focus around the main character. I mean, it started about him looking in his sister, and I feel like they could have continued that throughout the season and maybe connected somehow to the different story points, but they don't do that. All this Andor does is take orders from other people and just tags along. That's it. Like, we don't find out what his instincts is, what he likes to do, what he doesn't like to do, how he really feels about everything. It's all vague. He's mostly quiet, standing, not talking. And I feel like this is Andor, this is the main character. How is this even possible? Like the writing of the character is terrible, same of the show. And you know, some people were excited like, ooh, they said shit in this show. This one character said shit, the first cursing in Star Wars. Like, people calm the hell down. Just because this one character said shit does not make the damn show great. The same with when they said, oh, like I said, I hate when they say it's more mature, it's more this, it's more this, it's real. Star Wars is more real and all this blah 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 for adults and bullshit. Why? Because one dude said shit and we see a half-naked lady getting out of the bed where we know, oh, these characters had sex. Ooh, that's more mature, that's more adult. This is like... The creators, Tony Gilroy, I feel like, well, I'm gonna talk about him in a second, but I feel like having these aspects in Star Wars does not make it better. Like, look at the original trilogy or the prequels. They never had to use vulgar or sexual or make stuff more grim, more dirty, all that to be amazing. Like, the original trilogy had fun aspects, it had fantasy elements, it had also grim and realistic moments, but it had all of that and it managed it well. This show takes out everything that Star Wars-y, basically, everything that Star Wars out of the show. Like, where are the aliens? Where are the aliens of the show? I was like, why are there so many people? This is Star Wars. There are more aliens in the cantina scene in A New Hope than in this entire show. I counted, there are maximum, I counted out of memory, 5 aliens out of the entire show. 5! This is Star Wars. What is going on here? These people don't know which universe they are in, what franchise they're in. No creativity, zero in this show, except for this little fire meteor shower colorful, those 30 quick seconds. That was the only creative part in the entire show. It has zero creativity, it looks ugly, it looks bland, everything looks so boring, and they say, oh, you know, they filmed it in Pinewood Studios, they filmed it on real sets. Great, but it looks like shit. It doesn't, their sets don't look amazing. The scenery doesn't look beautiful. Everything just looks like brown and gray. It's just like, it looks boring. There's no creativity or beautiful design or no creative new planets, nothing. It's just the same old that we see over and over and over again. When you get someone like Tony Gilroy, a person who, quote, I don't like Star Wars, never had any interest in it. And my question is, why the fuck would you hire someone who doesn't like Star Wars and never had any interest in it? Why would you hire someone to make a Star Wars show? That's like hiring Martin Scorsese to direct a Marvel movie. Like, why would you do that? It's like, I feel like Tony Gilroy only did it to get like his name or like more famous or something far away, because like, I would not hire this person to direct a Star Wars show. Because first of all, he has no knowledge of the franchise, he has no love for the franchise, and you can clearly tell there's no love, no passion of Star Wars in this show. Everything is so dry and bland. You know, like you said, you try and tell this humane story. Yes, but this humane story falls flat when you don't have the Star Wars aspects in a Star Wars show. Tony Gilroy, you need to fire him out of the show and hire somebody who actually knows the franchise. Cause like, this is the dumbest person. Like, why would you hire someone who doesn't like the franchise? It's like shooting yourself in the foot. Like, why? This clearly tells that Kathleen Kennedy, once again, has no idea how to run Lucasfilm. I mean, this decision that this woman makes as Lucasfilm is just awful. Tony Gilroy, I don't know why he would even want this job if he has no knowledge of it. He has no knowledge of this world, because I feel like this could have been an amazing show. It had all the potential, everything could have worked. But if you get someone who has zero knowledge of the franchise, zero love, zero passion for the franchise, then you get some watered down rip-off shit of every TV show ever. It's like, it's the most cliche shit you get in the show. You get the character that's running it, the character that's looking for a character, get the character that portrays the other character, get the character who knows the truth but nobody trusts him. You have the high high-ranking character who is looking for the truth and then finds out more. Then you get the character that betrays the other character. Then you get the character who's at one place who doesn't want to go, so the other character takes him. You know, it's like this. We have seen all these tropes a million times in other shows and done better. And they just repeat them here in the bland show that's not engaging, not interesting, no creative, no world building. It's just boring ass people, zero aliens. It's just like the Empire is a freaking joke. And the one thing that really pissed me off kinda is just like this notion that because they did this one little heist, that's the reason that Palpatine is suddenly becoming ruthless with the Empire and putting people in prison just because like that, and now all of a sudden becomes a ruthless ruler. You want to tell me because of that little ass heist, Palpatine all of a sudden that makes him so mad that he becomes so ruthless with the Empire? It's like, did you even ever watch Star Wars once in your life? Like, Palpatine from the beginning was a ruthless leader. Like, he was ruthless from the beginning. That little heist wouldn't mean jack shit to him, to be honest. But that, oh no. It's like Palpatine saw this heist. What? They did this heist? Put everybody in prison. All gods, everything's like, these people do not know how character and how the world and the franchise really works. Because that was the biggest insult for me to the character that they could have made. It's like Palpatine all of a sudden becomes a ruthless leader basically with the Empire now, and they're making more security, more because of one little heist. Seriously? Palpatine was from the beginning on, like, Palpatine is the most evil character there is in Star Wars. Nobody's more evil. He's not a jolly-go-lucky guy. For the Empire being kind of like sort of, oh yeah, we Empire, and like, this one heist. Okay, now everybody's bad. You, prison. It's like, people, you do not understand Star Wars. I seriously, Tony Gilroy made an awful show, and people praise it for being more mature and more this, but it's like Star Wars never needed to be more mature and gritty and all this. I think ever since like these new TV shows have been showing up where you have more sex, more violence, everything, now they're trying to put this into every franchise, and like Star Wars never needed that to be amazing. Star Wars never needed extreme violence. Star Wars never needed nudity. I mean, the biggest nudity we had in Star Wars was seeing Princess Leia in the slave outfit basically, and you know, and that was basically it, you know, and that excited a lot of fans for many years. But I feel like this franchise could have been so much, this show could have been so great. My quick synopsis on how I feel I would have done the show, just out the top of my head. Basically, first of all, I would have made like that Andor's parents were part of the Rebel Alliance, and that they were a part of it, and Cassian Andor was 6 years old actually, and not 13 like he said he did. And him basically, and he have this mother character basically be the best friends of the parents. What kind of makes more sense that when she takes him in, that he's with her, that he kind of knows her, not just kidnaps a random child of a damn planet before inspecting if he even has any relatives there, seriously. And then have them basically do a mission, but it goes bad and the parents could die or go missing, that would have been unknown. And he grows up with this best friend mother figure basically. And you know, him working all the years since 6 years old, really he's looking for his parents. His sister got took, and that was his mission, you know, going against the empires, doing little missions here and there. And then now once he's grown, he finally had the intel about his sister, then he goes looking for his sister, and then he finds out a little bit more and more information. But then the Rebel Alliance trying to do, you know, this heist, which is, you know, like already a part of it. So he goes there, but then something goes wrong. So then he ends up in prison. And then we can have this whole prison sequence of him finding out maybe that his sister, you know, is part of the Empire now or somewhere around. I would have it connected in a bigger way, that maybe the sister is working now for one of the empires, like she's like an officer, for example. That would have been interesting, kind of these two dynamics of basically, because she was took when the parents, you know, were on this mission, and now since small she was raised by the Empire and he was raised by the rebellion. That would have been actually an amazing idea, like what I just came up with the top of my head. I would have those two basically dynamics, and then when they find out basically that his sister's alive, but actually his sister's the one hunting for him without knowledge, you know, you have this great conflict. I would add in Saw Gerrera more involved, that he was helping with the missions, you know, have him more involved with the show. And then basically I would have, you know, this conflict of this family, you know, in this city. You can have basically the mother character dies, you can have this big battle. Now this is just my quick synopsis of storytelling off the top of my head how I would have with the show go, and it would have been way better and more engaging. Like I can, maybe I would have to, if I sit and think, I would take more clearly, but like the most talking points would, like I would make really like Cassian Andor, first of all 6 years old, his parents be the part of the Rebel Alliance, have this mother character be also part best friends of the parents, have the parents and the sister took by the Empire, Andor looking for his sister all his life, then they go on a heist, it goes wrong, he goes to prison, then he breaks out of prison, he finds out his sister is alive, but the parents may or not be dead. It's just like I would have it more connected, and it would have been more interesting story about Andor and his family and the whole Rebel Alliance. I would also add in Senator Bail Organa way more, and to have more engaging scenes, and because like the rest of the show is not good. I'm gonna give this show a 1 out of 10. It's not a great Star Wars show. Like, it's not. Seriously, The Mandalorian is amazing. Boba Fett is good. Kenobi was also good. It had some hit and miss moments with some characters, but Kenobi was still better. Like, it was missing, like, you cannot take out the Star Wars aspect out of Star Wars and then sell it and tell people, oh, it's way better. No, it's not. Tony Gilroy does not know how to do a Star Wars show. You can clearly see that in this season. And when you don't see that and praise this season, it's like, you basically like anything, just with the title Star Wars. Because, like, I felt nothing Star Wars while watching this show. This is a really big disappointment as a Star Wars, and I really hope they improve the show, because they still have like 4 more seasons planned out. So I really hope that they find someone who really knows the world of Star Wars and do a way better story, because Daniel Lugar deserves a way better show. But anyway, thanks everybody for watching. As always, see you next time.